All right, everyone, it is Tuesday after Memorial Day. That means that the U.S. stock markets are going to open up for us at 9:30. We'll see when you're watching this one today. I think the technicals that I talk about here are still going to be of high value to you, so make sure that you pay attention to what I have to say in this, and I'll show a QQQ, SPY, IWM. I'll also give some updates on Nvidia, given that their earnings are tomorrow, Wednesday, the 28th, in the after hours. That's going to be an exciting time, and it's going to have some impacts itself. And then Tesla, of course, is always interesting. I'll give an update on that as well in this video. By the way, if you guys want to see more of my updates, such as my quantum stock updates, my penny stock updates, that if I have time, I will put out a video for that this morning as well. That is available over at the Discord. Links in the description. 50% off your first month sign up when you use code word doctor. In the meantime, let's get into the charts on this. So QQQ is what we're going to start with. So for the Qs, we actually have a pre-market value of 516.70 as I record this. The high that we closed with on Friday was 511.84. That is very important to pay attention to because it's possible that we open high, we rip down a little bit, make people a little bit shake, a little bit scared, and then blast off above that. We really want to break up above 523 if we're going to put in numbers for new all-time highs. On Friday, we had Trump come out and talk about the 50% tariff on the European Union, only to come out later and say over the weekend, you know what, let's just pause it till July 9th, and then we get some of that downward pressure released off the markets. That's what we're seeing. Upward pressure is up above 523. That's the number that we're trying to break. We couldn't break it before. We tried. We really sold off on Wednesday, struggled on Thursday, had a kind of a yucky day on Friday market-wise, looking at the Qs here, and then today rebounding nicely. 523 is the number to beat. Watch for that pullback in the early part of the market hours. So moving over to SPY, the number that we have to beat for that, we struggled to get up over 595, so be watching 595, 596. Getting over that number is what's going to enable us those new all-time highs. We do still have a gap to fill on the Qs and on SPY. As per the exponential moving averages, well, we were down below them. Looked like things might sell off a little bit. Looked like we might fill this gap. However, when you look at the simple moving averages, here we go, the 20 crossing over the 200, that's a very bullish signal on top of the fact that we got some of that release of downward pressure from Trump putting a pause on the tariffs for the European Union, the 50% one, up until July the 9th. So we'll see as things progress. I think getting into July, things get a little bit sticky for us as is. But in the meantime, look at that 50 curling back up towards the 200. On the Qs, look at that 50. That's the magenta line curling back up towards the 200. We could have a golden cross moment coming our way, which would go along with a lot of bullishness. It would be a little bit of a lagging indicator, if you will, but it could indicate a longer-term bullish sentiment, not only being above the 200, but also having the 20 stacked above the 50, stacked above the 200. That's a very, very bullish setup. And when we see the pullbacks happen, we know that they can be very temporary for us and that we should take that opportunity to make the considerations for those long positions. You guys have to make your own considerations for that. Do your own due diligence. Watch me, watch other people read things, study charts. And guys, like I said, I put out more analyses over at the Discord. You guys are welcome to join us. 50% off your first month. Use code word doctor. So for the SPY, like I said, 526 is that number to break. Got a nice bullish setup right now. The momentum has reset a little bit. All-time highs. Man, oh man, we got to break up above the 526 to have a shot at that. There's a lot of chop up there. It probably will take some upward pressure, some good news to make that happen. And don't forget that this week and next week, I talked about this before, we have GDP news, inflation news, labor market news. These are two huge weeks for us. And the more that comes out and shows us that we have nothing to worry about recession-wise, report-wise, the market's going to be like, well, no news is good news. Let's keep on going in the direction that we're going. Hopefully that direction continues to be up at that point in time. If instead we get signals from that maybe we should doubt the fact that we're in good shape right now, that we start to get information that brings back that sort of scare of recessionary times of, hey, maybe things aren't as good as we thought. Maybe the tariff situation has spiked up inflation. Maybe GDP isn't, it wasn't just a one-off for Q1. Things like that. That's what kind of sets that direction back the other way. I don't see that happening right now, but we'll watch as the report comes out and we'll be able to replan based on the technicals that we see as a result. So IWM, what do we got going on for that one? We got the gap filled and then some on Friday, bouncing back up. We need to break over. I have this line on here for you. That line happens to be at 209.27. So breaking over 202.10 is really going to help us in the upward direction. We actually could be setting up really nicely for an inverse head and shoulders on this. Look at this shoulder, and down here, we even have the makings of a right shoulder. We have that big old head in between this thing. Now, mind you, if that were something that were to play out, this could be absolutely huge for us. For those Russell 2000 stocks, that, let me see, what would that be? Let's drop that there. Command copy, command paste. There we go. Giving myself away from being a Mac user. There we are. That push could be up to like 248. Where does that put us in terms of what we have for peaks? Well, the previous all-time high that we had was back in November, and that all-time high happened to be at about 243. So if we do get that inverse head and shoulders, now mind you, I think to fully play out, to put us to new all-time highs, it would take a number of factors. One would be strong GDP, easy monetary policy, subdued inflation, and strong labor market. Put those four pillars in a nice shiny position. I think that 248 is easily what we would hit from something like this. I honestly think that if all four of those pillars are nice and shiny, that we're showing economic strength, that that tariff news, well, I got to talk about the tariff catalyst, positive or negative. Tariff news starts to subside, deals get worked out, puts us in a wildly bullish place. We're closer to 300 instead of closer to 250 for the Russell 2000 stocks. So getting into Nvidia, I still have my price tag around 143. I actually deleted off my technicals by accident on this one, but it was 143 and change. I kept it even with this peak since it was near that anyway, so I'm off by less than $1 at most, whatever it is from whatever I said. I could have gone back and watched my previous videos, but this is close enough for any purposes that I would use it for. We're stuck right now between 133 and 136. Getting up over 136 is what's going to enable us to get up to 143. We'll see if that can happen before earnings come out on Wednesday. If earnings come out wildly positive, we still have resistance to the upside that really, if we're going to get up above these previous peaks in a meaningful way, we still have 155, almost 156 to, we'll just call it 155 to 158. Go a little bit under this part, a little over that part to get above, to actually make that 170, that 168 number happen for us for Nvidia stock. So we do have some hurdles in front of us. We do have some demand to show. We'll have to see what's happening right now. Tariffs kind of complicating the issue with the trade sanctions with Nvidia, where China is involved. I should say that China trade sanctions, that Nvidia's hardware's hard to send that over there. Now, mind you, it probably makes its way over there anyway, but it still should bring revenue back their way if deals are made tariff-wise and also sanction-wise to ease restrictions on what Nvidia can export to China. So finally, Tesla for this one, resistance. I've expanded this a little bit. Resistance area 340 all the way up to 357. Redid the technicals on this one. And then we really want to watch and see 373. I still think is that price tag that we could make it to if we fight out of this area of resistance. Even more, and we'll call it massive resistance, if you will, 384 to 392. If we break out of there, watch for that area. I think we'll probably smash through 373. Down to the downside, I kept that steady at 314 to 317. So guys, like I said, these technicals and a lot of other analyses, and also my collaboration, my communication over at the Discord, 1,000 members over there already. I'm not the only person out there who shares the knowledge and information. There's a team of experts that are over there, expert panelists ready to go to share their news, their information, their insights, their technicals, their buys and sells. Stockmo is a personal friend of mine who put the Discord together, and I'll tell you what, it is absolutely tight. You should come over and join our Discord. We would absolutely love to have you over there. The community is the best community I've ever been a part of, and the products and services are seemingly endless. It really is just an ecosystem ready to go to support you towards financial freedom and building alpha into your portfolio. And if you guys want to learn to do technical analysis like I do, if you want to learn how to trade using the bread recipe trading strategy, if you want to learn how to trade options like I do to bring that alpha to my portfolio and really fill out my long-term investments, there's an options course and a technical analysis course through Stockmo Academy down in the description. Use code word doctor when you sign up for that. So it's same code word for either link that you choose. Choose both links. Supports the channel. It supports yourself in that journey, in that process. And we're also there to support you as well. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. We'll see you next video.